Hey there, Nation, and welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and we are back on an episode of Season 2 of Anarchy Road. This is our series that's dedicated to Necromunda Ash Waste Battle Reports, and this is Battle Report number 8. It is a settlement raise scenario that is, settlement showdown scenario. I apologize, I fought between my two friends, Warlord Ace as well like Smells Like Febreze. Warlord Ace is playing his Venator gang, Section 8 of the Venators, while my other friend Smells Like Febreze is playing the Water Guild Outcast gang, Aqua-Cola. So these two gangs will be throwing it down in Settlement Showdown. They'll be fighting for position of 3 different structures in the middle of the table. We're going to play some background music real quick. As the music is playing, we will show you videos and photos of both gangs as well as our army rosters. If you want to see exactly what they're bringing for this scenario, go ahead and pause at your own leisure. So that being said, let's get this battle report on a roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying times here.
Alright, so the scenario rules for this one is called Settlement Showdown. Pretty much you have 3 large structures that are placed within 12 inches of the centers of the battlefield center, and the entire objective is to seize those structures. Now both gangs get their entire gang from their rosters to do this, and of course players will have to choose which table edge they'll be deploying within 6 inches of. Now if either gang controls the structures in the middle of the battlefield, the game ends on that turn, and whoever controls all 3 structures is the winner. Now a gang can claim a structure at the start of the end phase if they have 1 fighter on it and no enemy fighters within 3 inches of it. If an enemy moves within 3 inches of the structure that is no longer claimed, of course they must fight in order to get that claim on that structure. Now for the rewards on this one, the winner earns 2d6 times 10 credits for the winner, and in case of a draw, both sides earn d3 times 10 credits. For those who participate for experience, earn 1 point of experience, and the victorious gang leader earns d3 bonus experience points, even if they don't participate. Now for reputation for this one is you get +1 reputation for each gang who is fighting each other for the very first time, and the winning gang also earns 3 points of reputation as well. So with the scenario rules over with, let's go ahead and talk about deployments. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about Section 8 for their deployments. On the left-hand side there, we have 3 guys on bikes. These are hunters, named Erlak the Maniac, Kazi Gobsmasher, and the Warboy. Erlak the Maniac's got a Gutter Forged Cloak, Mesh Armor, Auto Guns, Blasting Charges, Flail, as well as mounted on a Waster's Dirt Bike. And the exact same thing for all 3 of those fighters. Now next on the right-hand side is called the Gun Truck. It is a Guild of Coin hauler with a Munitarium, Armored Container, Twin Storm Bolters, Tire Claws, Nitro Burners, Smoke Vents, Transport Bed, as well as the Value Cargo, as well as the Trade Run Special Rule. And on board that vehicle, of course, is the entirety of the gang for the Venators. We have the Saracen, who's got a Gutter Forged Cloak. He's got an Armored Undersuit, Mesh Armor, Hotshot Last Pistol, Chainsword, and Overseer. We have Red Cap Killer, who's one of the champions. He's got a Gutter Forged Cloak, Armored Undersuit, Mesh Armor, Twin Hotshot Last Pistols, and Fast Shot. Followed by Blood Harvest, the gang's second champion. He's got a Gutter Forged Cloak, Armored Undersuit. He's also got Mesh Armor, as well as a Plasma Gun, Hotshot Las Gun, Last Pistol, as well as the Fast Shot Special Rule. At the same time, we have Mr. Sinister, who's a hunter who's got a Gutter Forged Cloak, Mesh Armor, Hotshot Last Gun, Telescopic Sight, and a Flail. Bubba Zanetti is equipped exactly the same way. And then we have the Pig Killer and Noose Taggart. They're both equipped exactly the same way with Gutter Forged Cloaks, Hazard Suits, Shotguns with Solid Scatter Shot, Flails, Ceramite Shields, as well as Incendiary Charges. And that pretty much makes up the deployment for Section 8 on this battle report. So moving on to my friend Smells Like Febreze for Aqua-Cola, her Water Guild Outcast gang. On the left-hand side, the vehicle is called the Unbound Fury. It is a scum racer, where it is a custom medium vehicle with tracks. It's also got a ram, a transport bed, nitro burners, smoke vents. It's got all-wheel steering, tire claws, as well as a harpoon launcher and a grenade launcher. It's got a boarding ramp as well as body spikes. And on board that vehicle is Eros Slagmist. He's the leader of this gang. He's also a weird type archetype. He's got armor undersuit, furnace place, hotshot last pistol, frag grenades, chain sword, a bio booster, Medicaid kit, as well as photo goggles. He's got the Iron Jaw, Nerves of Steel, True Grit skills, as well as the Overcharge ability from Technomancy. On board that is also the members of the Water Siphoning Delegation. We have Og Mendazar, who is the Master Nautican, who's also a weird archetype. He's got an Armor Undersuit, Mesh Armor, Needle Pistol, Stiletto Knife, Bio Booster, Stim Slug Stash, the Step Aside, Overseer, as well as Flicker skills. He's also got the Zen Shootist ability. We have a Korea du Laurel, who is a Siphonite, who's also a weird archetype. She's got an Armor Undersuit, Mesh Armor, Needle Rifle, Stiletto Knife, Cult Icon, Dodge, Fast Healing, as well as a Quickening ability. And then we have Temperance Vandastier, who is the Subnauticon, who's got Armor Undersuit, Hazard Suit, as well as Open Fist, a Respirator, as well as the Berserker skill. And also located on this vehicle too is one of the Outcast scums. That character's name is, I believe, is Wintermere. Outcast scum who's got Mesh Armor, solid shotgun with solid scatter shot with a telescopic sight, stun gun with dum-dum rounds, as well as smoke grenades. And on the right hand side we have the Red Scorn, which is another scum racer who's got a custom media vehicle with transport bed, extra armor, all-wheel steering, tire claws, nitro burner, smoke vents, heavy stubber, as well as a boarding ramp. And on board that vehicle we have Roop and Tariana. They're both Outcast scum who are equipped with mesh armor, last guns with telegraph sights, stub guns with dum-dum rounds. We also have Treving as well as Shadowfast, or two Outcast scum who are equipped with mesh armor, flail, stub guns with dum-dum rounds, as well as blasting charges. We also have Kruging, which is another hive scum who's got mesh armor, a shotgun with solid scatter shot with a telescopic sight. They also stub gun with dum-dum rounds, as well as smoke grenades. And then finally we have the Rogue Doc, Dr. Arachnos, the Dramatis Personae Rogue Doc. He's got mesh armor as well as the last pistol. He's got the Medicae Mechadendrites, a bioscanner, respirator, as well as the Medicae skill. And that makes the deployment for this one. Alright, so now that we're done with deployments as well as scenario rules, let's go and talk about battle plans real quick. So I talked to my friends real quick before this fight actually started. For my friend Warlord Ace, his plan is actually just to rush in with his bikes as well as his Guild of Coin Hauler and try to occupy the center of town and try to stop my my friend Smells Like Febreze from actually entering the town. And then from there have his fighters dismount and actually secure as many structures as possible. At the same time, my friend Smells Like Febreze is going to plan on doing exactly the same thing, using her vehicles to charge in as well and have her fighters dismount and then of course make their way to the quantum building as well as the chemical tanks in order to secure those as well. Because at the end of the day, that's what this whole scenario is about. So who commands the most structures to figure out who actually wins. So that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number one. My friends roll off their priority to see who of them will go in first. We'll be right back after turn number one. Alright, so now we're back at the top of turn number one, and my friend Warlord Ace actually got to go first for his army, the Section 8, the Venators. As you can see, things are not looking so good right now, so let's talk about what ended up happening. So first of all, the very first activation he did is he actually activated one of his fighters. His name is Kazi Gobsmasher. Kazi Gobsmasher actually did a double movement, moving on his war bike directly to his left-hand side on the left-hand side of this water tower. Now, what ended up happening, of course, is that my friend Smells Like Febreze, she activated next. She decided to activate the driver of the Red Scorn, a scum racer who does a normal, simple action move forward, and a basic action open fire with their heavy stubber directly into these two guys right here. Managed to get 5 shots off with that heavy stubber, and those heavy stubber shots hit directly into the Kazi Gobsmasher as well as the War Boy. Managed to put serious injuries on the both of them, so because they go crashing down to the ground and they're currently bleeding out. Now what this of course did is it also triggered the gun truck real quick, the Guild of Coin Hauler. The guy filled his cool check for the driver, so because of that he goes rocketing 10 inches over in this direction because his nerve is currently broken, and of course the rest of the vehicles have to travel with him because they have no choice because he's kind of lost his nerve. And that pretty much makes up turn number one so far, so we'll continue on here with the rest of the activations. Alright, so now we're back for the rest of the turns for the activations for the action phase. So let's talk what ended up happening. So first of all, my friend Warlord Ace decided to keep the Saracen as well as his 2 hunters, the Pig Killer as well as Noose Dagger directly onto the gun truck, just because he wants to be able to use those guys later on. From there, of course, Red Cap Killer as well as Mr. Sinister, as well as Red Blood Harvest, as well as, what's his name, Bubba Zane. Those guys dismount their vehicles and also move up directly to start occupying and making their way to secure this structure over here. Meanwhile, over here on the other side for the Water Guild at the same time, 2 fighters actually dismount from the Red Scorn. Those fighters' names are Roop as well as Tariana. Those guys get off the vehicle and also use basic actions in order to climb up directly to the top of that chemical tank over there. And meanwhile, the Water Guild guys over here, Og Mendazar, Kyria du Laurel, and Temperance Vandastier. I'm going to zoom in real quick for you guys over there. Those guys also dismount the vehicle as well. Looks like they're going to try to occupy the quantum building. The rest of the turn, everybody else decides to stay with their vehicles. They don't plan on moving anytime soon. So because of that pretty much ends the action phase for turn number one. So the action phase over with, we go directly to the end phase. Alright, so we go back to the end phase, and it was kind of a mixed bag from my friend Warlord Ace. First of all, his two fighters that were shot down earlier, they both make recoveries with flesh wounds, so they do have one less toughness. So they can still fight, they can still move, so they're still pretty much dangerous. So Kazi, Gobsmasher, as well as the War Boy, they're just currently laying down right now because they're currently pinned off their vehicles. Meanwhile, disaster strikes from our friend Warlord Ace over here for the Saracen. The Saracen loses his cool test. So because he failed his cool test, so does the gun truck, and it also flees another 6 more inches, and directly all the way over here, trying to get out of the field of fire and try to get away from the combat as well. And since my other friend Smells Like Febreze had nothing lost right now for Water Guild, she's perfectly fine. So that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 2 for the action phase, and both my friends roll off for initiative to see which of them has priority. Alright, so that takes directly to the top of turn number 2. Once again, my friend Warlord Ace does manage to get the initiative on this one, so let's talk about what happened. This is pretty much done with pretty much all the people's activation phases. So first of all, what ended up happening over here, of course, he sent Redcap Killer as well as Bubbles and A directly to the base of this tower, using dome moves to do so. Same thing with Redcap Killer as well, Blood Harvest, as well as Mr. Sinister making their way directly to these tanks over here for the MCI Chemical Works. Now, unfortunately for his guys over here, these guys got shot at again. One of these guys did escape pinning. But what ended up happening though is that the Red Fury actually moved up and again, moving up his normal movement allowance and opened fire with its heavy stubber. Managed to hit both of them again, putting a serious injury on the War Boy as well as another flesh wound directly onto Gobsmash as well. So because of that, he's only got toughness 1. If he takes 1 more wound, 2 more toughness checks, that he will actually go out of action. So things are not looking very good right now for my friend Warlord Ace. Meanwhile, for the rest of the turn, as you can see for the Water Guild pretty much sent up their troops, Tiariana as well as Roop, managed to get in position to occupy these tanks over here. At the same time, a couple of more fighters, including Dr. Arachnos, actually dismount from the Red Fury and start making their way directly towards this Chemical Works tower over here. Same thing over here, as you can see up here on the top, the Unbound Fury moved up its normal movement allowance and fired a harpoon launcher directly into Kazi the Loon. Managed to hit this guy and put a serious injury onto him, and also dragged him forward 2 inches closer towards them as well. And meanwhile, the members of the Water Guild itself, the delegations, actually did double actions to climb all the way up to the top floor of the Quantum building as well. So just like that, my friend Smells Like Febreze is securing 2 structures, while my friend Warlord Ace is securing 1 structure. And that pretty much makes up the action phase for this one. So with the action phase over with, we go directly to the end phase, and we'll talk about exactly what happens then. Alright, so that takes directly to the end phase, and unfortunately for my friend Warlord Ace, his 2 fighters over here are still seriously injured, so they're still bleeding out for the most part. Over here though, Kazi does survive with a flesh wound, so he's 1 less toughness, but you know, he can still fight, still shoot, cause some more problems. At the same time, the gun truck finally recovers nerve, also earning the driver +1 to his experience point for doing so. And of course, my friend Smells Like Febreze, all of our people are doing perfectly fine. So with that being said, we didn't go directly to the top of turn number 3, and both my friends roll off for priority to see which of them will be going first. Alright, so now we're back at the top of turn number 3, and the Venators get to go first once again. So because of my friend Warlord Ace decides to finally activate the gun truck. He decides to activate the Saracen, who does an overseer ability directly onto the driver of the gun truck, so that way they do double sets of activations. The first set of activations, of course, is to maneuver their way directly towards the center of the little settlement as well. And the set of activations is to open fire their twin Storm Bolters directly into the little fireman team that was over here originally. Now, even though these guys have scattered, the reason why is not because of Storm Bolters. Unfortunately for my friend Warlord Ace, he missed both sets of shots with his Storm Bolters. He rolled a pair of 2s and managed to get 6 shots off, but he rolled 2s to hits because of the shots didn't do anything. So he just kind of opened fire directly down the middle of the center wave, but didn't really cause much of anything. But what ended up happening though is that my friend Smells Like Freeze then goes next. She activates one of her fighters. I believe the character's name is Kruging. No, sorry. Her name is Shadowfast is her name. Shadowfast actually moves up, throws a blasting charge directly into Redcap Killer as well as Mr. Sinister. Now her shot did miss and it bounced over to the left about 2 inches, but they still got caught in the blast template. So because they both get hit, they both get pinned as well, but no wounds. Luckily their armor saves protected them. What ended up happening is that Pig Killer, which is one of the hunters, goes next. He aims and opens fire with a shotgun, firing solid slugs what he does. And he fires it directly into one of the guys named Kruging is his name. And Kruging is this guy over here. Managed to put a serious injury onto him, and because he got injured, Outcast, of course, has to take cool tests. Unfortunately, Outcasts are not very good with their cool tests. So as you can see right here, Shadowfast failed it and actually ran back directly towards the vehicle, the Red Fury, in order to avoid getting hit. Same thing with Dr. Arachnos. He did exactly the same thing. And same thing with Triving as well, which is this character over here in the back. All 3 of those fighters lost their nerve, and they also fell back in position, so that way they don't worry about getting shot anymore. Because apparently Pig Killer killed the morale guy, shot the guy who was actually making everyone happy in the gang, I guess, and that's what happened there. So with the that for a little bit of activations over with, we continue on with turn number 3 for the action phase. We'll be right back after this. Alright, so continuing on with the action phase real quick, my friend Smells Like Febreze decided to activate Ergo Slagmus, who did a group activation with the Unbridled Fury, the Unraged Fury, as well as with one of her fighters. I think his name is Wintermere is his name. The vehicle actually comes in closer for them to do boarding action, so because Ergo Slagmus does a boarding action and successfully gets involved, same thing with Wintermere, and they actually gauge a close combat. The combat between Wintermere as well as Newstagger didn't really do much. Newstagger was able to put one flesh wound directly onto Wintermere because he's a little bit easier to wound. However, Ergo Slagmus, though, did manage to put a grievous injury directly onto the Pig Killer, taking him out of action, also earning himself an additional experience point as well. Now, from our friend Dark Lord Mag, then activated Newstagger next to continue to finish off Wintermere, but unfortunately, though, he flubbed his attack roll, so nothing much really happened there. Meanwhile, over here, the Red Scorn decides to burn rubber, so decides to travel 21 inches all the way across the tabletop to slam directly into the Warboy as well as the Gob Smasher. Managed to put them both out of action because he ran them over like speed bumps. Put a out cold result for I believe that's the Warboy is what that guy is. Yeah, he managed to put an out cold result for the Warboy. At the same time, managed to put a grievous injury directly onto Kazi Gob Smasher. So just like that, those two fighters are currently out of action, and just like that, my friend Warlord Ace has lost 3 more fighters in the scenario so far. So those are the activations so far. We'll continue back later with the rest of the activations. Alright, so the rest of the action phase is actually quite brutal, so let's end up talking about what ended up happening over here real quick. So first of all, Red Cap Killer goes next. He does a group activation with Bubba Zanetti. Originally, Bubba Zanetti did double actions to move up directly to the top of this platform, while Red Cap Killer decided to open fire with his fast shot ability, firing both of his hot shot last pistols directed at Ergo Slagmus. Managed to put a serious injury on that fighter as well. And if you wonder where the other fighter is, I just kind of moved him along over here on the side my friends did, so that way they can make more room for this guy to come down. Now, what ended up happening, of course, is that my friend decided to, decided to activate her Water Guild leader, Og Mendazar, basically did a group activation. First of all, Og Mendazar decided to put Overseer directly onto Temperance Vandasir. So Temperance Vandasir, the Subnautican, actually did a first set of activations to walk directly onto his platform. A second activation to charge directly into close combat, and actually took on the Saracen, which leader, managed to put him out of action with an out cold result. So that part was pretty brutal. Then from there, of course, the Siphon Knight, her name is Kyria du Laral. She takes a basic action aim with her needle rifle and opens fire directly into Bubba Zanetti. Managed to hit him, originally got a serious injury result on him, but he had to take an initiative test, which he failed. He pulled him to the ground, and that was actually what put him out of action with out cold results. So because that, all kinds of craziness have taken place in the combat phase over here as well. I forgot to mention that Red Cap Killer also got a ammo check from one of his hotshot last pistols as well, which we'll talk about later on. So with that being said, with the action phase over with, we go directly to the end phase, and we'll be right back after this. Alright, so let's talk about the end phase and what ended up happening. So for recovery, first of all, this guy over here, Erlak the Maniac, actually rolled a out of action result. He had rolled out cold, so because he will make a full recovery, but he'll be no longer participating in this battle report. At the same time, Ergo Slagmus is still seriously injured. Meanwhile, over here in the center of the table as well, this fighter, I believe his name was Kruging was his name. He actually suffers a grievous injury, so he goes out of action. However, the Doctor Arachnos actually covered his nerve. Same thing with, I think that character's name is Treving and Shadowfast. They actually made their recoveries as well, regained their nerves, and also gained an additional experience point as well. As this point, my friend Warlord Ace decides to call the game at this point just because he took so many casualties. He doesn't want to take any more than he absolutely has to, so he pretty much calls a game at this point, which brings a victory from our friend Smells Like Febreze and for her Water Guild. So with that being said, we're going to go directly to the post game because this battle report is now officially over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Alright, now it's time for the after action report. This is the part of the battle report we talk about what went well, what went poorly, and what we can do for the next time that we do battle. This is the after action report for battle report number 8 for Anarchy Road Season 2, and for my friend Warlord Ace for Section 8. Unfortunately for him, he lost this battle, so let's talk about what happened to his gang. Now, unfortunately for him, he actually suffered 6 injuries on this one. The Saracen, Bubba Zanetti, Erlak the Maniac, and Kazi Gobsmasher, and the Warboy, all 5 of those guys have alt code results, so they make full recoveries with no harm, no foul. However, the the Pig Killer goes into recovery with a grievous injury, so he will not be participating in the next battle report. Now for advancements in this one, no gang member at this time actually advances, and from their territories, from the Bullet Gate they earn 7 credits, to Cracked Canyon 13 credits, and the Twins Pass they earn 8 credits from that, and they also control the Oil Slick trading route, which is 5d6 times 10 credits, and they got 190 credits from that as well. Now from the trading post, they got 218 credits from the territories, and they place all of it in the stash for a grand total of 223 credits. For reputation, or 1 point reputation for fighting against Aqua-Cola over the various time, as well as 1 from the territories, giving a grand total of 7 reputation in total. Their new record now is at 1 win and 1 loss, and the new gang right now is still at 2,630 points. Up next is the winners of this battle report, which is Aqua-Cola, which is Smells Like Febrez's gang. For this one, she only suffered 1 injury on this one. His name is Kruging. She has suffered a grievous injury, so because he goes in recovery, and he will miss out his next battle report for that as well. Now for advancements, 2 members of this gang did level up, with Ira Slagmus, the leader, leveling up to level 2, earning +1 to his Ballista skill, and also improving his value by 20 credits. And Temperance Vandersteer, the Subnauticon, rolled up on randomly, got +1 to his movement, so he's movement 5 now, and also increased his value by 10 credits as well. Now from the territories, they got the Crater's Shadow, which gave him 9 credits, Grave Run, which gave him 6 credits, as well as High Road, which gave him 7 credits as well. At the same time, they also captured the Storm Road from the Section 8 guys, earning 12 credits from that one. And by doing that, having Grave Run, Crater's Shadow, Storm Road, they got the Shadows Ridge trade route, which is 3d6 times 10 credits from that, and they increased their value from 120 credits from that one as well. Now from the trading post, they got 154 credits from territories, as well as 44 credits from the stash, giving grand total of 198 credits in total. They got 1 point reputation for fighting against Section 8 for the very first time, as well as 1 from the territories, as well as 2 reputation from the scenario, giving the grand total of 9 in total. The new record now is at 2 wins and 0 losses, and their gang rating is at 2,430 points. So there you guys have it. That's good for this one. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is valuable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good for this one, you guys. We'll catch you guys next one. Peace out and stay classy.